Hello, and thank you again, DJ, Envy, and Caesar, for providing me with yet another opportunity to educate the public in ways in which they can build generational wealth within real estate, and also to educate them on the process from start to finish. So my name is Sandra Stinson, and I've been licensed in this industry since 2005, and I've owned one of the top real estate companies in my area, which is a Keller Williams Realty. And currently my license is being held at eXp Realty, which is a virtual real estate company. And I'll provide all my contact information for those that would like to reach out to me. My experience extends so much further than your traditional realtor. I'm very well versed in the real estate industry, not limiting myself to only opening doors, but also to help people build homes from the ground up, purchase land for holding, helping investors flip and hold properties, but most importantly, helping developers develop and build communities. So with that being said, today I would like to discuss the step-by-step process from start to finish. So most buyers' biggest struggle in the industry and getting started is wanting to know what to do first and what's the first step. But I would like to break down that process from beginning to ending. But I would like to open just by saying that the way most buyers would start the process is basically by calling a random agent at a random property, demanding to see it immediately. But upon that conversation, a conversion would take place, and I would just sit down and do a consultation and gather all of their information. And at that point, send them over a questionnaire. With that questionnaire, it would just basically highlight or have the buyer convey to you what they are looking for in a home and what their time frame is and what kind of financing they have in order to accomplish that. So today's topic of discussion will be as follows, which is the process again from start to finish. So I'm not sure if you realize, but in the webinar or the seminar, the way they have it open from beginning to end, meaning starting with the financing. The financing is always the most important. So we will discuss financing, we will discuss realtors, we will discuss house hunting, we will discuss submitting an offer, and also the process of the home inspector, termite inspection, insurance, escrow, and closing. I know it's a lot, but those are all of the moving parts that's associated with a contract. So the first item being finance. Finance is normally identified during the buyer's consultation. In that buyer's consultation, the buyer will provide the agent with a list of the demands or the items that they're looking for in a home. And after having that conversation, it's more or less like a discovery period, because based on what the client is looking for, that will determine what type of financing they will actually be open to, whether that may be VA, FHA, conventional, a jumbo loan, a bridge loan, a stated loan, equity, or hard money lending for flips. So it is a lot, but it's just to kind of give you an idea of what the process is. In dealing with financing, I also tell buyers the product your lender will be offering is based on your credit score, so to speak. And every lender has a different product. So because various lenders have different products, a lot of the times it's going off of what your score is. And in most times when an agent or when a buyer gets not qualified for a property, you may have an option to go to another lender, because I call them like A, B, and C lenders. So that would be the part in terms of financing. Financing is always important and is always the place in which you should start. Your realtor of choice is a mutual agreement, which has to be established once you have the first sit down and a consultation. At that point in having that meeting, it will basically solidify whether or not you're going to work together. And at that point, that's when you sign the buyer's representation agreement. In signing that buyer's representation agreement, it outlines a few things. It lets you know when the starting period is that you're going to work with that realtor and when you're locked into that realtor. So everything should always have an ending date and a beginning date and an expiration date. Within that buyer's rep, it will also highlight what that agent's hours of operations are, whether if it's Monday through Friday, and whatever the time is. It will also outline who's responsible for paying for the commission and also whichever fees may be associated with the contract. So that will take care of you solidifying whether or not which realtor you want to work with. And you should always work with one realtor because after all, only one could get paid. And we also want to make sure by having you signing that buyer's representation agreement, it helps us to determine whether or not you're making a commitment to us and that therefore we're going to make a commitment to you. The third item is going to be house hunting. So based on what your criterias were on that questionnaire, that's basically going to set a steamroll of events that's going to take place. At that point, based on the amount that you qualify for and based on the criteria that you requested you wanted in a home, the agent is going to send you a list of those properties. And sending you a list of those properties, they're going to come from a multiple listing service, which every licensed real estate agent has the same access. So most often than not, most clients will get a little frustrated and they may feel that, well, I'm not seeing what I'm looking for. Well, chances are what you may be looking for is not available on the market. And at that point, you should convey that to your realtor. So once you convey that to your realtor as an experienced agent, they then at that point should make adjustments to your search. And you too, as the buyer, need to be open to making those adjustments as well. So if you don't do that, then the buyer at that point will get discouraged and get to the point where now they want to take matters into their own hands, and now they want to either go through Zillow or they want to go through Trulia. So this is what's going to happen when you do that. So going through Zillow is basically, so when you go through Zillow, it's not going to give you accurate information. Therefore, you're going to get more frustrated. Why? Because Zillow information isn't updated. Half the time it's sold, might have sold 6 months ago or maybe even 6 years ago. And so now what you're going to do is when you go through Zillow into those other sites, now you're going to start a chain of events where other realtors are going to be calling you. Why? Because there are realtors that pay for leads with those companies. And then that's when you get all of these people calling you. It's because they paid for your private information. And then now that's why they're calling you. So the fourth item is going to be when you submit a written offer. So once you submit an offer is basically you saying that you're interested in the property and now you and the seller are going to, your terms, you're asking for your terms to be met basically. So the items that you're going to need in writing up your offer is going to be your approval letter, which during the buyer's consultation, the agent that you decided to work with should have got a copy of that. In addition to the approval letter, you should have got a fee sheet, because the fee sheet outlines all the pertinent information that most buyers don't realize. It has your interest rate. It lets you know exactly the amount you're qualified for. It doesn't mean you want to spend it, but it lets you know what you qualify for. And at that point, based on that amount that you qualify for, maybe $500,000, that document is going to show you what your payment would be. And the reason why I asked for that document up front, because let's just say if in the event now this property that did miraculously materialize on a Saturday or Sunday, if you're working with a lender and they only work Monday through Friday, then guess who we can't reach on Saturday and Sunday? The lender. But if we have that document up front, at that point we can make adjustments based on what you want to pay as a consumer in purchasing. So the other option is once you get everything solidified and everyone agrees to the terms of the contract, now you have a binding contract. Okay, in that binding contracts, what you do at that point is now 9 to 5 at transaction coordinator comes into play. So what we do at that point is from contract to close are the other moving parts to make sure that no one breaches the contract, and for two things, to make sure that we are representing the client and also to allow the agent that's representing the client to fully function and focus on those other things that the agent needs to do that the transaction coordinator can't do. And for those things that we will do, we will collect the earnest money, we will verify the proof of funds that have been received. If there's a termite inspection that's associated with it, we make sure within the time frame it has been collected. The same thing with the home inspection. But with the home inspection, that may vary, because if you're doing a fix and flip and you're doing a demo, there's really no need to pay that additional cost for a home inspection. So insurance is the next topic, which is number 6, and that would be M&S Insures who handles that, which is also Ashley McCoy. So Ashley McCoy will handle the insurance in terms of your homeowner's insurance, business insurance, trucking insurance, all insurance would be Ashley McCoy, and I'm sure she was on before me, and so you have her information. The next item is number 7, which is clear to close. Ta-da! That's what everyone wants to hear. That's what the lender wants to hear, the buyer, the realtors, everyone, and even the sellers. So a clear to close just basically means that the type of loan that you decided to get, that mortgage company lender has basically signed off as a seal of approval saying that you met all the requirements in order for them to issue you this loan and for you to move forward with closing. So at that time, when we get the clear to close, at that point, 9 to 5, it springs into action, and we basically make sure that all invoices have been collected, all termite letters have been collected, all deposits have been collected. We're the ones chasing behind all the paperwork, and we're the ones in between the contract with all of the other moving parts that's going on behind the scenes. So this service is also available to those that are for sale by owners that want to sell their own property but just may not want to pay that 6% fee. We are licensed realtors. We are nationwide, so we'll be able to assist you with that. Also, the same thing with the builders. If you decide you don't want to use a realtor, or if you decide you may want to do an extension for your realtor and have us handle all of your contracts to close as well. And the same thing with wholesalers, the list goes on. So that's what we do at 9 to 5, a transaction coordinator. So what we're going to offer too is we're going to have this guide. In this guide, we're going to provide this guide to you in a little bit more detail, and it's going to break everything down from start to finish in a little bit more detail. So for those people that are watching this webinar, it will be available to you for a fee at a download, but the code that you're going to have to provide is going to be start to flip, the way it is, start with the number 2 and flip. And that code will expire the 5th of November. So that's my time. My name is Sandra Stinson, Djenvy and Caesar. Thank you again for allowing me this opportunity. And I want to always be a source of information if anyone needs me. Again, this is my contact information within this link, and I'll be waiting to hear from you. Thank you, and you guys have a great day.